was just wondering, Doug, Belfast and Sheffield, fairly similar in many ways, size of the club, fan base, arenas, etc. Why move from one to the other, especially as I think you signed a 2-year deal last summer?
I guess it leads into an opening statement. First of all, I'm thrilled to be here and thankful to Tony Smith for giving me the opportunity to coach and develop the Sheffield Steelers. In terms of Belfast and coming to Sheffield, it was a situation for me that was, I thought, the best move for me personally and from a business point of view at this stage of my career. I had 3 fantastic years in Belfast. I don't have a bad word to say about Belfast. Really enjoyed working with Todd, the staff, and obviously the players that we had, and we did a lot of great things. But at this time in my career, the opportunity to hunt Nottingham down from a little bit closer was something that I couldn't pass up.
Cool. I still don't get a sense of why you left halfway through the deal. Is it something perhaps to do with the change of ownership or resourcing of next year's team? Or?
The Belfast Giants next year are going to have an outstanding hockey team. I have no doubt about that. The club is strong. The club is in great hands. The budget will be there for them to succeed. I have full confidence that they'll be able to do that. But it was a situation for me that wasn't something I could pass up to come to Sheffield.
When did you start to think future might be elsewhere?
I thought last week, leading into the playoffs, that going elsewhere might be something that would be an opportunity for me that I would have to take a look at. Of course, that coincided with Ryan departing Sheffield, and to have a spot where I could come, hopefully have success, win a lot of trophies, have a great budget, and have an organization that was hungry to get back to championship level hockey. And that for me was something that made me very interested in coming to Sheffield. And of course, at least hopefully, the feeling was mutual. And here I am.
How quick was it to get the deal done?
It was quick. I had a feeling that going into the weekend, that if there was an opportunity here in Sheffield, that I would take it. I thought that was something that if the budget was going to be what I had hoped it would be, and that Tony could work out some of the things that I thought were very important to me contractually, that I would come to Sheffield. And on Monday, I received the email, early mid-morning from Tony, offering me the job and the contract. And we went back and forth. It was a difficult situation because I was just saying goodbye to my team. And obviously I was with my Belfast players and who are on their way to the Great Britain training camp. And that was a tough spot for me to be there. But it was a decision that I knew that I wanted to do. I had made up my mind, and it was a direction that I felt very comfortable with. And so once we got the numbers in place and we agreed as to what my package would be and confirmed what the budgets and all the different kinds of things that I was hopeful would be there, I jumped at the chance, and here I am with an orange tie 24 hours later.
So you offered it via email on Monday afternoon?
Correct.
Monday morning.
Monday morning.
So soon after Sunday, so no specific interview. You just thought that the owner just thought you were that good that he'll send you an email offer you the job.
I can't speak for what Tony thought of me one way or the other.
There's normally an interview process, isn't there?
Well, I think our interview process has been 6 years of being in the Elite League and working with Tony on a day-to-day basis, and Dave Sims on a day-to-day basis, and knowing Mike O'Connor and coaching his son. I think that the interview process was 6 years of hard work and effort, but I can't speak for other people that they spoke to.
Tony?
Seth?
What was the interview process then, from your perspective?
It was very similar to what Doug's just described, actually. Strangely enough, I have a similar thought pattern. Doug's one of the best in the Elite League right now. You asked me which coach I'd like out of the Elite League, his name would be top of the list every time. And references were taken. They came back exactly as we expected them to come back. So we decided to put a deal to Doug. He wasn't surprised. I think he was hoping that maybe a deal would come about. I think that we had to work very, very hard to get this guy. He'd no intentions of leaving Belfast 7-10 days ago. We've had to work very hard to push Doug into a deal at Sheffield. He likes Sheffield. I don't think he sees it as a sideways step, do you?
No, definitely not.
I think it's more of an upward step, and we need to make this #1 club. We need the best in Sheffield. The fans expect the best, and that's what we've found in Doug Christiansen right now.
It doesn't sound a very hard process if you did it all in 2, 3, 5 hours.
Well, having signed a lot of contracts to players over the course of 6 years, when your goals are aligned and the things that you want are mutual, things happen pretty quickly. It's when you aren't sure about certain things, you aren't sure about the money or the directions or what the budget might be. For example, if the Sheffield Steelers were in a different country, I'd have to do a lot more research than what I did, because it's just down, I should say on a different island, but same league. And so therefore, and probably the exact same thing for the Steelers organization. If I was in a different country and I was in a different spot, it would take more time, but I know what the Sheffield Steelers are. I know what they're about. I know what their ambitions are. I know who the rival is, and who we might now have another one. But that's the business that we're in. And again, it was a situation where mutual interests and mutual goals led us to a quick conclusion.
What do you think you can bring to this club that perhaps Finity failed to do over that length of time? I'm not having to go at Ryan here, but what's the essence of what you can bring to make the club successful?
I think the #1 thing that's my goal is to reshape the culture. I think that #1, the Sheffield Steelers have for years and years been a championship level team, a team that has won consistent trophies. You look up at the banners and there's a sea of them. And so the expectations are to win, the goals are to win. But I think that sometimes a new set of eyes, a set of eyes from the outside looking in, reevaluating players, reevaluating budgets, and then obviously putting my own stamp on it. One of the things that we tried to do in Belfast was create a dynasty based on class. And I believe that we did a lot of wonderful things there. And I believe that we're going to try to do the exact same thing here. We're going to try to bring in outstanding human beings who are great in the community. They're going to be great teammates. And they're going to compete every night for an opportunity to win trophies and to try to stop what happened this year down the road. And to me personally, we're going to be very goal-oriented, and we're going to be hardworking, and we're going to compete every night.
Before he left, or sacked, released, however you want to describe it, Ryan firmly believed he'd sort of got the makings of a championship winning side here. Do you sort of see that potential as well?
No doubt about it. Sheffield Steelers are an outstanding hockey team. But one of the things that was the team that was signed by somebody else. And I have not had an opportunity to speak to many of those players. I know a lot of the Great Britain players. I know what they're about, and the culture that they have and the beliefs that they have. But I do think that a lot of the players that were here, not any disrespect to them, I want to have my own players. I want to have my own stamp. Other people's players, although they're outstanding players, doesn't allow me to build my own team from scratch. And so I'm going to try to bring in as many of my own players as I can. And that doesn't necessarily mean players that I've had previously, but it means players that I've recruited, that I've identified, that I've done the due diligence and the research, not just got the background checks from a secondhand source. So I do expect significant changes.
I know it's a difficult question, this, but are you talking about most of the team being replaced here, or half the team, or a third of the team? Because in a normal season, you'd be talking perhaps a third of the team, wouldn't you? If you're saying I want my own team that I've done due diligence on, or is it the whole team?
Well, #1, it's not the whole team. That's obvious. That would be quite the tough start. The most imports I ever returned to Belfast is 2. I'm not scared of reshaping a team and restarting a team. In Edinburgh, I had a quick start as to re-signing players costs money, and re-signing players is an increase of salary. And so therefore we need to take a look at what the budgets are and whether or not, it's not just about spending a budget, it's about maximizing it. And once I really am able to get my hands into it and to see what players are earning, what the marketplace looks like, that will really drive who comes back and who doesn't come back, not just how many goals and assists they had or how many years they've been with the club.
Isn't it also important, though, to have some continuity, irrespective from a hockey point of view, from a marketing point of view? You know, the fans like to keep their heroes, if you like.
There is some importance to that. There's no doubt about that. I think that fans. Tyler Michelle won a number of awards last night. Fans recognize players. They identify with players. They want that. But the nature of the contracts of the Elite League is they're one-year contracts, and players are going to go out and try to find the best opportunity for themselves. And the teams have to take a look at what the players have been earning, what you can get for that same amount of money. And so, yes, I do expect to bring some players back. Yes, I do expect that there to be players that the fans will be able to recognize and be excited about coming back. But I also think that it's an opportunity to bring in new blood and players that can reshape and reestablish the goals that we all share.
And the guys that are on 2-year deals, are they safe?
They're safe. They have signed a contract.
Have you already spoken, I know it's fairly early, but have you already spoken to players, maybe some of your old Belfast players about coming in?
I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't speak to everybody who I could possibly speak to make the Sheffield Steelers the best possible hockey team.
How quick until you make your first signing?
Could be August.
I don't believe that for a second.
Well, I don't have an answer. It could be days, it could be weeks. Again, it's about taking the time and the effort and doing the due diligence to make sure that we sign the absolute best hockey team that we can for the budget that we have, and to make sure that we bring in the right players and the right mixture of players, whether that's returning players, whether that's players from other teams in our league, whether that's players from Europe, North America. It really isn't until you see the marketplace that you know what you actually have and what the marketplace dictates for a power forward or a center or a defenseman or an offensive defenseman or a goaltender. There's obviously a couple players that I think would be really, really good here, and those players will try to get here as quick as possible. But if those players say that they want to wait till July, then we have to wait potentially till July, but we'll keep our eyes open for other players.
What's your first priority, then? You looked at Sheffield as an opposing coach. You analysed their weakness. What was the biggest weakness of the Sheffield Steelers?
Well, I think this past year, I thought they had a ton of grit. They were the most physical team in the league, no doubt about it. You knew that you played Sheffield. But they didn't score a lot of goals. And so I think that they need a bit more offensive depth. I think that the British players that they have are quality. And I think that there's always ways to upgrade the British players for any team, whether that's Nottingham, whether that's Belfast, whether that's Coventry. You're always looking to upgrade that. But I think the one area of the team that over the course of the year, when they needed timely goals, they didn't have enough players who were able to get it for them.
I take the point about the 2-year guys, they'll all be coming back. There are other players you've already identified within the Steelers dressing room who are, in your view, must-have backs?
I don't think any player is a situation where you have to re-sign anybody. You have to make sure that you do your absolute best to get the right players at the right amount of money and maximize the budget and bring the best possible team together. There are players on the Sheffield Steelers team that are premier players in our league and outstanding players in this league, and players that I would love to have on my team next year.
Is the age of the team slightly worrying for you? Some would say it was a bit older than average.
I think you can always add new fresh blood. I think having younger players pushing older players is a good thing, but I think having veteran players who can talk about the value of 2 points in Dundee or Fife and the experiences that they've had help to make the younger players better. So I think having a blend of experience and the youthful exuberance is a good thing.
You pushed Nottingham close, most of the season, and barring the Euro Conference, they had enjoyed a clean sweep. How realistic is it for you to expect to rein them in within a season?
A lot changes in a year. A year ago today, we had 5 losses, and Nottingham, granted they won 2 trophies, but they were a distant third-place team. This year they won a treble. Due to the nature of our league with 1-year contracts and all the variables that go into it, shifting a dynamic is definitely something that's attainable. It's not like every player's on 5-year deals and they're all coming back and all of that. I wouldn't have come to Sheffield if I didn't think that we can achieve all the goals that I want and that I have, and that's to be able to make sure that we lift trophies at the end of the next year.
You want more goals out of the team this year, but what generally would be the hallmark of a Christiansen Steelers side?
Competes, excellent puck decisions, offensive zone possession I think is absolutely vital, and I think probably most important, more so than anything else, is that they play as a team. And I think that that's one of the things that if you look over the last 3 years in Belfast, we haven't had a lot of the league's top scorers, but we've always had consistent scoring throughout our team. We've had players who bought in, we've had players who compete, and who come to Belfast with the expectation of winning a title. Well, there's no greater opportunity than right now for the Sheffield Steelers to be able to go out, bring in new players, be able to identify that talent, reshape the team, and make sure that next year we find those extra goals, we find that opportunity while maintaining some of the physicality that last year's team did so well.
Cotton Shields might be available.
There's a lot of British players who are available right now.
Are you going to use your... This is a bit of a scouting trip. You're going to be away with the GB boys. Is it a chance to negotiate?
One of the things that I've taken great pride in is being able to compartmentalize myself to being full on with one team and then shifting. Having had to go through that a couple times this year, it was difficult to walk away from Belfast and throw yourself 100% into the GB team, and then to come back after such an emotional run and come right back and throw myself 100% into the Belfast Giants again. This is going to be no different. When I leave here, I'm going to speak with Dave Sims and I'm going to speak with Tony Smith, and we're going to identify the things that we need to do. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I've got an opportunity in the mornings to work with the Great Britain team and to do my absolute best with them. On Thursday, we're going to get back to work. We're going to spend 24 hours outlining the goals of what we'd like to do over the next 2 weeks while I'm away. But it is an opportunity for me to evaluate talent. There's no doubt about it. It's also an opportunity for me to get to know a few players better, and vice versa. And if our goals are aligned and the money is right, if at the end of those 2 weeks players wind up coming to Sheffield because of the experience that we share together, that's outstanding.
So it doesn't hurt to spend a couple of weeks with Dow and Peacock, for example?
It doesn't hurt to be able to be representing, being an assistant coach on the Great Britain national team. I think it's an outstanding opportunity for the players, and I'm just happy to be a part of it.
So realistically, you perhaps can't demand a championship off Doug in his first year. Do you see this as a 2-year programme to win the title? Obviously, it'd be nice if you win it the first year, but especially going to make a lot of changes. Teams don't always win a league with lots of changes.
I don't have a crystal ball, Bob, but I would say we might have to drop a year. I can't honestly tell you the answer to that one. I'd hope that we could deliver some silverware this year for the fans, but in all honesty, if it takes another year to set us on a different course, then I'm quite prepared to take that risk. We gave Ryan a couple of seasons, and he did a good job for Sheffield Steelers, but not quite good enough. And we have to get a better coach on board, a stronger coach who can lead us into better things. I think right now is the start of a new era for Sheffield Steelers. Doug, like I am, is very, very ambitious. He wants the best for the club, and hopefully he's going to deliver. Yeah, it might take a year or two, but we'll get there.
Where's this on your career path? How long a stint do you see this? Is it just 2 years and you do something else, or do you see this as being a more long-term?
I think number one, my ambitions are to be successful and to win and to help this club hang banners, lift trophies, and stop what happened down the road. That's what I want. Where this is on my career path, this is a results-based business. there's a lot of coaches who came in with a winning reputation and had some success that 2 years later found that wasn't the case. I don't expect that. I expect to win. I expect for us to have an outstanding run. I told Tony, I've told people who listen, I do not have any expectation of going to a European club. My job is to try to make the Sheffield Steelers as good as I possibly can. And to me, when I am 60 years old, am I going to be living in Sheffield? I can't answer that. But what I can answer is that I have every expectation of putting the Sheffield Steelers back on a championship path, putting them there, and as long as that takes, and as long as Tony's willing to have me, let's keep lifting trophies and get back to doing the things that made Sheffield the team that was so successful for all those years.